You ever notice how birthdays hit different once you're grown? As kids, that day felt like magic. Balloons, cake, everyone saying your name like you were the main character. You couldn't wait to wake up. But now, you roll out of bed, check a few happy birthdays, maybe get a call from your mom, and then it's just another day. You tell people, I don't really celebrate anymore. But if we're being honest, that's not the whole truth. Because sometimes when people say, it's just another day, what they really mean is, I stopped expecting anyone to make it special. See, the ones who treat their birthday like it's no big deal aren't cold or detached. They've just learned to lower their expectations. A kind of emotional self-protection. When you've been disappointed enough, your brain starts protecting you by numbing excitement before it can get hurt again. It's not sadness, it's survival. That's what psychologists call emotional withdrawal. When the heart decides calm is safer than hope, you stop waiting for gestures. You convince yourself you don't need attention. But underneath, you still care, just quietly. Because birthdays are emotional mirrors. They reflect how you feel about being alive, how you relate to attention, how much space you think you deserve. When someone says, I don't care about my birthday, sometimes they're really saying, I've learned to be okay without being seen. And there's a fine line between peace and numbness. Some people truly outgrow the noise, not because they're hurt, but because they've found peace in normal days. They don't need cake or parties to feel grateful anymore. That's maturity. But for others, birthdays carry weight, memories, loneliness, unmet hopes. They remember the times they felt invisible, so now they play it cool. It's not apathy, it's armor. When you grow up being the strong one, the reliable, low-maintenance type, your joy starts coming second. You tell yourself you're fine with that, but part of you still wishes someone would just notice. Not with fireworks, just with sincerity. And that's the paradox of adulthood. The more self-reliant you become, the harder it gets to receive love without suspicion. Birthdays quietly expose that. You say, it's fine, but deep down you still hope someone remembers. Because independence doesn't cancel the need to be seen. It just hides it better. That's why birthdays hit weird. They're reminders of time, of growth, of how far we've come or haven't. For some people, that reflection feels heavy, so they downplay the day. It's not denial, it's introspection. But maybe that's what growing up really is. Shifting from wanting the world to recognize you to learning to recognize yourself. Less about presence, more about presence. Less about who showed up, more about how much of you has shown up in your own life. That's what quiet celebration looks like. So yeah, maybe you don't need a party anymore. Maybe you just need a pause, a moment to breathe, to look around and think, I made it another year. And that right there is enough. Because even when it's just another day, it still marks the miracle that you're here. Still growing, still learning, still showing up. And that's worth celebrating, in silence or not, every single time.